Not yet.
How about now?
Yeah, it's a blank screen, but we do have one.
Okay, how about now?
Yep, now we have it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for attending our Q&A webinar. This is something we've been doing, my gosh, Brad, for several years now, not quite 17, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why we do this is we love to personally interact with the client base. There's no requirement for you guys to come here, but you do get a chance to speak to the CEO and his right-hand man. And some guy from Canada. Brad, is that guy there?
I don't think Barry's with us today.
No! Brad, 0 for 2. Guys, Batman and Robin are flying solo with no editors. Brad, who knows what we're going to say?
Could get dangerous, couldn't it?
It's going to... Well, I will tell you this, guys. You ain't getting rich quick. That's the whole Lambo thing, the getting rich quick theme. We're going to dispel that, but we are going to show you some amazing stuff. And part of the thing that we want to do about the Q&A is we want you to really be open to asking questions. Lots of times we run through things, and I'm going to start off, Brad, with something even you haven't seen in a long time. We're going to talk a little bit about it. We're going to talk about how we help you jump to the critical things that you need to see, and I'm going to show you how to do it. All right, guys, before we get started, quickly, we're not a registered investment advisor. All the information that you're going to see from Trade Ideas or anyone associated with Trade Ideas is for educational and informational purposes only, and should you need specific investment advice, please consult a registered investment advisor, which we are not. Who are you dealing with? Since there's so many of you who are not even subscribers, you happen to be dealing with one of the most successful self-funded, non-venture capital started companies in the United States. That's us. Brad, come on, stop patting me on the back, Brad. Stop.
Hey, we love what we do, and looks like we're pretty good at it.
We love what we do. We are pretty good at it. One of the reasons is because we still do it, and I'm going to talk to you about how the CEO doing some of the things that I do are so critical to our success. You know, patting myself on the back again. But the truth of the matter is that we are a completely self-funded, entrepreneurially driven still for 17 years. We've been doing this, and our technology is created completely customized for the stock market. There's nothing like it on our flat earth at all. So we're completely made in the United States, no outsourcing, and everything that you're going to see here that I'm going to demonstrate is going to be very easy for you to replicate all by yourself. So let's get going. One of the things that we are famous for is a new way for you to engage with the stock market, which is really based around the only thing that you should care about, which is, Brad, don't say it, your P&L.
Your P&L.
Everybody talks about the earnings per share. Everybody talks about dividends. Everybody talks about lawsuits. But nobody talks about your P&L, because your P&L is your own genetic, fine-tuned, market-infused fingerprint code interaction with the amazing thing called the U.S. stock market, which never closed during the pandemic. Brad, did it?
No, in fact, I think it's what people kind of moved to, since all the sports were non-existent, and this is where people are finding a good form of entertainment and a way to make money.
Well, let's also make sure you guys understand, once you expose yourself to the stock market, you learn a few fine things. Number one, stock market is something you can do all of your life. It will always fluctuate in one direction or another. It has the most potential out of anything that exists in the financial markets that's accessible by us little guys, not the billionaires. You have situations where you can make percentage returns in a matter of days that they talk about decades to make. And it is all here. It's more exciting than poker, sports, fantasy sports, whatever the heck that is, Brad. I don't even know how they got that one in there.
I don't even know.
Hey guys, don't watch this game. Watch the guys in other games, and you do it. Okay. The stock market has all of that, but so much more exciting, because It's real companies. You get to put your skill and analysis and feel on the line. And Brad, at the end of the day, risk management is everything. That's why we talk about this is the new way to interface and interact with the stock market. It's all based on your P&L. We're the only company that tracks your P&L for you all throughout the day graphically in a number of different ways. So I'm going to jump into all of that. But before I do, Brad, let me just say that we have so much to offer the individual investor that you and I skip over things often because, again, there's just so many different things to cover. And I think I'm going to go back to something today that you and I have not covered in a long time. So, as I said, this is what we're famous for. Now, let me show you how it all happens, okay? I'm going to minimize the presentation. And Brad, look at this. When was the last time you and I have been here?
Well, considering I make these, it wasn't that long ago, but I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
What I'm saying is that a lot of people sometimes say, well, what's going on, guys? Where is the strength? Where is the weakness? These are all great questions. Luckily, we have the ability to answer those questions for you in a way that most people can't. We watch every single trade on every single stock, but unlike others, we database it. So our software, our back end, knows which companies are the strongest right now and in lots of different ways, because of course, a company can be strong, Brad, today, but really weak for the week, or strong for the week, but weak for the year. So many different ways that you can slice and dice the data. And we do it all for you. And Brad, one of the things that I really haven't hit upon in a long time is because we use customized ways to have a full-time view of the market on a number of different time frames. It allows us to create tool sets that other people don't have, okay? So let's talk about that real quick at the bottom, which is, again, these quick ways for you to see weakness and strength. What are the things that are strong? What are the things that are weak? And certainly the big cap tech, Brad, have been very strong today. And you can quickly go right to where you need to find out what it is that's impactfully moving in the market. You can sort everything. You can do anything and everything that you want in terms of quickly seeing where the strength is. And in this particular case, the big tech companies. So once again, the reason I'm starting here is because Brad and I often focus on the self-directed trading where you have positions on, but I'm talking a little bit about just an overview of the market, like a quick snapshot. This is a beautiful way to see various aspects of strength and weakness. And again, the bottom summary tells you that overall this thing is either strong or weak. You can quickly see. So these are some of the things that, again, go undetected unless we point you in the right direction. And so many of you are new. We're just showing you things that this is all constructed. You didn't have to do this. I just went to a channel. Notice we have a channel bar here. Okay, I went to a sector status channel. We have so many different channels for you guys. Lots of different things, including, for example, something simple like, well, what's going on the earnings side? Okay, so you can quickly see if something is reacting potentially to its earnings or vice versa, negatively to its earnings, what is going on. And we set it all up for you. We tell you which way it's going, what are the companies. Notice that there's an earnings date. It's always highlighted, especially if it's pointing to today. It's giving you like, hey, red, look over here. Make sure that you know this thing is reporting earnings today, so you don't make any mistakes. And once again, all these things are constructed for you. Okay, all I have to do is press on a channel and boom, reporting this morning, reporting this afternoon. We've spent a lot of time, guys, using our own expertise, because of course we made the technology, so that you don't have to spend a lot of time configuring. You can really do a lot of perusing. You can surf around. Now this is a great question from Jim. What's a smart stop? And I really like that because it kind of highlights. Jim, I'm assuming you're not a customer yet. Watch out, because you could be very quickly. One of the things that we have that nobody else has is this ability for you to quickly get a game plan for a trade for any stock at any point in time. So let's pull up something like, for example, URB, Urban Outfitters, okay? The software, Trade Ideas, knows that you're interested in Urban Outfitters, okay? By the way, since we pulled it up and it has a lot of volume, one of the things you can quickly do is much like on Twitter, you can just heart it. So now the software knows that you've liked Urban Outfitters and it's going to keep tracking it for you all by itself on a whole other channel designed specifically for things that you like. So again, just a simple way to do that here. But going back to Jim's question, let me zoom out. Assuming that the market was open and assuming that right here, 25.38 is sort of like your entry price because that's where it is right now. The software takes a hypothetical guess and says, well, if I'm not in this, I'm not trading it, but if I was right now getting in, I wouldn't let it go below this line. That's what the smart stop is, okay? And in this particular case, it's 75 cents. It's not, every stock has a different smart stop. So what you have here is a game plan in Trade Ideas rolled up into every single stop. And the beauty is, I mean, now that you peel away from the 5-minute chart of Urban Outfitters, where you can see a bigger picture, okay? August 25th, it had earnings yesterday. Obviously, Brad, they were pretty good, most likely, okay?
Sure.
Maybe a lot of people doing online shopping through Urban Outfitters, who knows? So the smart stop and its cousin, the swing exit, work together. And in fact, again, for every stock, if you move in a different time frame, it gives you the full game plan. If you're in it to win it for the swing time frame with the amount of volatility on a 21% one-day jump, you really have to give it back to this price level right here to be worried about it. That's kind of what the roll of the dice is. That doesn't mean it's not going to pull back. I'm just saying that statistically speaking, for a longer term holding, that's what the swing exit is. The smart stop is based on the volatility of the stock today and how much it normally moves on any other given time period right around the same time of day. So does that make sense? Again, just doing a lot of volatility calculations in real time to help you be able to make a plan. And regardless of what it is, again, these two stocks, earnings blowout, so they kind of traded the same way. You can kind of see it's the same concept. So the software says, listen, if you're going to try this and it's up a lot right now, I would not let it go below this line. It's trying to help you create the proper reaction game plan. So let's just do a little channel surfing here. Again, a lot of you guys are new. This is like your Netflix, Momo, momentum. Which stocks are really just momentum strong? They're giving you the kind of returns. Remember I said that sometimes in the stock market, what you get in a day or two is what other people talk about in a decade. This is so true. And again, we pulled it up. If you guys were here last week, we talked about Kirk. Whoops. Hello. Let me retype that. 1 second.
You have a character right there.
I know. I have a fat finger. Okay. Kirkland Stores. Look at this run that this stock had from $2 to 14, and now, Brad, again, just in terms why it is that people are in the stock market, right? I mean, this thing was running and running and running and running, but look at the profit taking. What happens? Boom. I mean, correcting some serious percentage points, and this is what the game, the art, the game, the science. This is what it's about. This has been in a strong uptrend, so possibly this is it. You know, and again, this is where these little moves like this, somebody says, okay, I'm going to try to speculate. I'm going to try to get in. And depending on where it is tomorrow in the morning when you come in, okay, this will be a different number. of course. It'll change based on what's going on and how the stock is reacting. So a lot of Trade Ideas customers, they kind of peruse these different channels for different things. A lot of times what you'll see is the same stock on these different channels. And you see that because different channels pick up the same characteristics of momentum in lots of different ways. Some of it's based on volume, some of it's based on momentum over a certain period of time. Some of it is based on what's called relative volume, which is how much is this thing trading relative to what it normally is doing, so compared to itself. So you can really start to focus on behavior that's quite unusual. And here's, once again, let's just, Brad, we talked about peeling it back, right? Here you have this incredible move from $2.29 through to $12.25 in approximately 4 months.
Yeah, it's a great move.
This is, ladies and gentlemen, what this game is about. One of these can transform your personal wealth and life situation to a completely different one if you're able to find and ride the trends. And Brad, one of the most beautiful things is this is why people use some of these longer term moving averages. But notice how this thing just kept on really curling perfectly. And if you were, again, we don't necessarily say this is the only thing that works, but in this particular one, look how beautifully the moving average just kind of crept up along with it and really never gave you a lot of false signals at all. I mean, this is, again, our primary focus on Trade Ideas is to try to get you into the Neon, the Kirklands, and all these other stocks that have these embedded potentials in them. This is what we are the best at. And I keep reiterating the component of the fact that I'm not doing a lot of configuration. I'm not under the hood fixing spark plugs. I'm just going to the channels and kind of checking out what's going on. And remember, once again, I said that you can have this software do a lot of things for you. Netflix, very strong today. I just added it to my liked symbol list. You can have the software continue to work on different concepts for you while you are sort of in what I call passive mode, okay? When you turn on with idea surfing, you are letting the software go through. See, like how right underneath here, you can see where the yellow highlight is right here. So the software is moving through the various stocks without you needing to do anything. And then you can just simply let your subconscious mind do what needs to be done.
So I should tell you, I added a pause functionality to the single stock window. So you were in it and it was paused because a lot of people.
You're so cute.
Yeah.
Thanks for telling me, Brad.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, I won't be in it. So I think you can set this, you can customize the idea surfing, I believe, to what is it, 3 or 4 seconds? Something like that? Or really, is it any number now?
Yeah, well, it's not really, it's not a user-friendly piece of customization. It's something that you can do if you email support, and we can kind of walk you through the process. But I think it's a 3-second delay, and it goes through the top. If you haven't done any modifications, it goes through the top 3 symbols of each of your top lists, price alert, and your price alert windows.
Yep, and like Brad said, if you're in a single stock window, like if you're right here and you're like, ooh, what's this? You're moving to identify or investigate, so it pauses and allows you to like it. Or in this case, one of the things that we do is just create an alert when you really feel like your trigger's been hit. So one of the things that we focus on in Trade Ideas is oversimplifying, but for a good reason, this whole experience of being able to pull the trigger. You're trying to let the supply and demand equation sort of come to you instead of chasing it. And we have these basic ways that you can do that. Again, the channel surfing is one of my favorite ways, because you're really taking advantage of the trade ideas, expertise, and creating layouts that focus on a very specific thing. And all of these things, you can just manually check them out. You can do all sorts of self-discovery, or you can just simply add them to your bank of things that you like. So one of the things that I want to now bring in back into play is this, okay? So this is Brokerage Plus, and this is on a channel that you can access called Shall We Play a Game? And notice right here, it says connected to Trade Ideas Simulated Trading. Amy just asked this question, and I have to say that this is probably, again, the most important piece of innovation that we've done. In simulated trading mode, you get to practice without feeling the pain of this minus 3,366, while at the same time understanding that your overall picture is actually not looking bad. So these are the things that are, so Brad, I have to I remind myself how it is so critical to be able to see how daily fluctuations affect the overall fluctuation and being able to manage your emotions in that process.
Well, very rarely do you get this stair step up on your way to a great trade, right? It's filled with emotion, it's filled with ups and downs. That's the nature of supply and demand in a movement of stock.
So one of the things that I think is critical in our simulated trading environment, something that Jim was sort of asking about, orders that work on other orders. So here's one example where I really think it's just, it excels, because here I'm putting an order. See, there's a buy button. You can pre-program these to be whatever it is you want. I think in this case, I'm buying like $2,500 worth. Remember, this is in simulated mode. But what you didn't see happen is at the same time that I dropped this, it automatically said to stop to the low of the day that I pre-programmed, so that once again, I am secure. So if you're practicing the right behavior, you're automatically doing it the way it's supposed to be done. Think to yourself, how many times have you been able to work an order for any stock? Okay, and I'll do it again. And that order automatically creates your insurance order to make sure that you are not accidentally in a situation where you're sitting in a gigantic loser and you can't get out. Notice I can also move these back. I can visually adjust them. So a lot of our kind of more proficient traders, this is the environment that they work in, okay? They go through these stocks, and again, it doesn't matter which time frame you're doing it on. In this particular case, I mean, there was a big move after market. So I'm going to just give you an example once again. Oops, hold on. There it is. Okay. Accidentally put in one too many. So, Brad, how come? What do I need to do to get rid of this one? Sorry, guys, one sec. Cancel this order, yes. Okay, there it is. Sorry about that. When I'm doing things fast, I get a little fat-fingered. So once again, this is called visual trading. It allows you to peel back your emotions of the instant gratification and instead letting the trade sort of come to you during the day, and you really are able to then pick your spots. Because, for example, again, sometimes it never gets there, but should it, what you're seeing is you instantly have the insurance to get out, and you already know then that the move is happening, because otherwise it wouldn't have been here. And this is maybe, Brad, one of the hardest things for people to do, is that sometimes buys like these at 22 make more sense than buys at 14. People want to get that price perfect, but here what you're doing is you're clearing what's called overhead resistance. In other words, if it actually gets to this level, something's happening. It's probably doing whatever it was that it was doing back here. So unless it's there, you don't even want to mess with it. But if it is here, now you will not miss it. Okay, so that's our way of doing the conditional orders. They're conditional upon price, and then you're setting the stops. We really try to stay away from traditional technical analysis. Like people say, well, I want to do an order when the RSI crosses this. You can set that up in Brokerage Plus. You can do all sorts of things where you are alerted when the RSI is something, and if you want that to trigger a trade, you can do that. But we have found that the better way is the simpler way. And the simpler way is be aware of the things that are in play, like this, something that goes from 15 to 2, certainly in play, and then put your orders in where you know a piece of information is already passed. So here it is. Now it's okay if you're going to be in this order on the way up. You've got your risk parameters and you're all set. This is the way that our subscribers gain really an unspeakable advantage over other people who are working the markets and trying to figure out how to allocate their capital and to invest. This is the hands, well, it's not hands-free per se, but it really is. Whenever I give this demonstration, we always get kind of like the coolest feedback because people can understand why I did this. You know, I'm not buying it right now because right now I don't know. But I like it here because here it's already made the move, and I'll deal with the consequences if that happens because I've already got my piece to exit. That's all you need. If you already have that kind of a game plan for your trade, you are so far ahead of the pack. I would say that of all the mistakes that I still make, and investors continually hone their skill. It's kind of like professional golf. Even the best golfers can still hit the shot off and make mistakes. It's really not, again, and it's the same mistake that everybody makes, which is not taking your losers fast enough and thinking that you're just in a bounce play. This is what prevents that from happening. We're the only ones that do this for you. And that's why we are one of the fastest growing companies in the fintech space right now. Okay. So again, Amy, remember I said it's not conditional the way that you're used to those terms. It's a modified conditional. So here, both of these are conditional orders and one triggers the other. So when I drop this in, here you instantly get the stop. But at the same time, you can create whole systems using trade ideas. And these systems are based on multiple conditions upon conditions upon conditions. And to really get you to understand it, you would have to invest some time to know how that works. And that's available in all of our subscriptions, really, whether it's premium or standard. It is the way that we program our real-time alert mechanism. Let me kind of maybe jump back and show you guys a little bit of where the history started, okay? So when we were really starting out, it was just these alert windows, okay? And what you see here is a way that you yourself can configure something that you want to find. So if I start from scratch, that means I have nothing, and I'm just trying to have an idea. Well, what do I want to do? So I can see what kind of alerts do these people have. You can add some defaults, okay? New highs, standard deviation. So for example, I can be alerted when something is 4 standard deviations above the normal. I like that as an alert because I think to myself, well, most likely, it's not going to happen a lot. It's something significant. Then I can add some filters to it, like for example, show me those standard deviations, but it has to be up more than 5% from the close and trading 2 times what it normally does during this time of day. And I can even say, and today it had to have traded at least 100,000 shares. Now I'm going to say 500,000 to make you guys more comfortable. Okay, so this is called, I'm going to just give it any name I want, standard deviation search. So guys, this is now in real-time search mode, and here it is. It goes back to the last thing that's come up, and here is the stock. Now, obviously, remember, I didn't put any price filters up, anything. I'm just showing you guys a little bit of what, you know, what we can do. So here, you can go to history. Now you can say, well, what's happened today? And you can see, well, which stocks were just, again, the most unusual. GMO, CTRM, there's some, you know, Workday, look at this one.
So you might want to put a price filter if you don't want to trade. You know.
Of course. But I'm just trying to show people that you can really specify whatever you want. You can configure this in so many ways. Like for example, I can say 50 cents, and I can say $5 maximum. Now, FLNT comes up. Now, the interesting thing is that FLNT happened to have also been a trade for the AI. Okay, and that's the other thing, of course, that we do, which is we have a full trading system embedded in trade ideas. Not only can you teach yourself how to trade, simulate trade, but we also have a system that will also trade live for you if you wanted to. It's called Holly, as in close to the Holy Grail. You enable it by highlighting which strategies you want to trade and right click and say, enable these 9 strategies, and you're on. So if the market was on, you would then be automatically trading these depending on how you set up the instructions. And again, all of this is a little bit higher level function, but all of it you can do so that you don't have to be as hands-on as you think. Okay, that doesn't mean you necessarily go play golf while you trade, but certainly you have a lot of automation capabilities. So this is what we do in terms of the kind of the separator piece. We're a real-time search engine, and you can configure it any way you want, but then you can do something else. You can say to yourself, and you saw what I did where I saw something interesting like 4 standard deviations up, and I can say, okay, I'm going to back test this, meaning that I'm going to trade this, pretend to trade, like, you know, just like we're simulated trading the account. I'm going to pretend to simulate trade this every time I see it and see what would have happened. So that way it lets me know, for example, is my concept in the right direction or is it in the wrong direction? Kevin, Holly provides everything: entries, exits, multiple exits, in fact, a conservative exit, an aggressive exit, and a moderate exit. So remember that what I was trying to say is that we're not in the guessing game, we're in the figuring out game. So in this particular case, you would say to yourself, well, obviously, run again and maybe short. This is the advantage of having trade ideas at your disposal.
A little mean reversion strategy there, huh?
Yeah, and I love showing. I mean, guys, this has been around for over 10 years. This part right here, okay? But I'm just showing you the advantage that our customers have over the other people, which is that you can take something as complicated as 4 standard deviations and see which way you should go. Okay, you can test anything and everything. And these are the kind of conditional orders that can be then created in the software to really set yourself to trade very, very specific things. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, so over here, is everyone watching on the channel bar? And I'm going to go to a channel called Omni AI. Okay. So these were the trades that the AI got into today. Okay, this is what it looked like. The first one was FLNT, and it was an entry at 8:51. No, sorry, that wasn't the first. That's the first one I clicked on. My bad. Let me just go right here. Back to here. FLNT 8:51. Pacific time. I'm in California, so it's kind of a middle of the day trade. And this one was the best one of the day, relatively speaking, by far, in terms of percentage points. It goes in both directions, OMCL, short, C-day, short, and not everything wins. So here's the critical part, guys. Look, once again, you have a sell point. So we were playing the downside, but you have a buy point to get out. This is the difference between somebody who understands risk management and somebody who doesn't. Others get in and hope. We get in and we instantly have our counter trade. In other words, if this had fallen, we would still be in it and would be enjoying the profits, but because it didn't, we got out and we're moving again.
So may I, Dan, I'd like to illustrate something because it really pertains to real life trading and how people need to make decisions to trade and to use our software in general. So right here, I'm looking at the chart above, the AI chart, and it shows me negative. And it's negative because you're risking $100 per trade for each one of these, or you're doing 100 shares per trade. And that's a decision that you made, right? And when you embark upon this auto trading with Holly, you have to make these decisions. Are you going to go ahead and be in conservative mode? Are you going to be in moderate mode? Are you going to go ahead and what type of risk are you going to put in place here? And if Dan had it set to, trading a certain dollar amount per trade, really taking advantage of the percentage movements, then this would have been positive across the board. But it's like anything, you have to make certain decisions when you turn this on and how you want to approach the market.
Well, notice hopefully you guys saw that I made the adjustment here. We have under tools and options, AI trade size. So you can have the AI mirror whatever you want to do. So for example, you can say, don't lose more than $100 per trade. And that $100, it'll size you based on what it knows the stop is going to be. So I can apply and hit save. And again, you can see that in this case, this is just a different way to trade it. Not every single day, this is the best way. But you have all three ways at your disposal. And here, again, this is just a very simple $2,500. I mean, you can put in really any amount. You can put in $1,100. Whoops. Whatever it is that you feel comfortable with, you can personalize this simulated experience to your liking. And once again, remember that you're combining and layering all this on top of one another. So you've got the AI that's doing buy, sell signals for you. It's teaching you because it's always behaving in the right way. And again, it can put on some amazing numbers, but it's also going to be doing the proper thing because not every market condition is perfect for gigantic gains, and it's always going to be interested in preserving your capital. I'm going to get you into the right trades. Like if you look at the stocks that the AI was in, okay, something interesting has to be going on. Trading a little, either setting up in a way that it thinks like something bad's going to happen, or there has to be a volume component. There has to be something like, again, in this particular case, it thought that this big turnaround move statistically usually created a follow through, but that doesn't always take place, which is once again why you have these levels. Okay. Now, let me add one more thing, and this is something that it's almost like one of our really coolest breakthroughs that we're going to be bringing to market very soon. And I'm going to show you what it is. It's something that you can actually do every day. At the end of the day, Brad, everyone can go, who is a premium subscriber, of course. Everyone can go in and say, okay, well, the AI wanted to get into this trade at 30.81. So I'm going to set a price alert. I'm at 30.88 at 31, 20 cents higher, and I'm going to call it AI re-entry. Okay, so I'm going to show you this exercise. So now what's going to happen is I have this window right here called my price alerts, and if this triggers, boom, it'll let me know and it'll give me the reason because it's the AI trigger. And I'm going to just show you what that looks like in other setups. Okay, so OMCL, $67. We sell it here. And I'm going to say, okay. Keeps on going down. I'm going to call it 66. These are kind of like heads up indicators. So here I am, and I can move them. Notice we can visually grab them, just make them a little bit more concrete. So now, even though the AI kind of did this today and it's no longer there, you are still being able to hold on to these AI trades, and you're in essence in them. And once again, here we go. I'm just going to say 550. 560 is fine. Go. These are simple things that high-end trade ideas users do, and we want you to show you that they're actually very rewarding, but not labor intensive. It doesn't take me a long time during the day to go through this kind of stuff and say, hey, CNST, okay, so here, CNST, what did the software try to do? Well, it's kind of sometimes tries to pick a bottom, because bottom picking, if done right, can be quite the experience. So hey, just come back here and say, we are back. So once again, what you're doing here is you're continuing to never forget and never lose sight of the AI trades. Dick's Sporting Goods, big earnings mover, obviously here. And once again, just let me know that it's continuing to go. So these things will now stay with you. You're going to be reminded. You can just click on these hearts. And by the way, these hearts, now I'm going to, this is kind of towards the end of the presentation, you can just switch the channel. And these are all the stocks that I've been watching and highlighting. And I can quickly then say, okay, show me which ones are doing the best. And I can see exactly what it is that sort of suits my fancy of the research I've been doing. All right, Brad, how are we on the questions?
I think we're caught up. Got everybody answered.
Fantastic. Okay. So, oops, sorry, I keep doing that sometimes. Let me hit back to present. So one of the other things that we do, and our technologies, there is no comparison really, guys, and you can just do your own research on that, but there isn't any. But where we really take it on the next level is the personalized experience you get from Trade Ideas by being able to visit our free trading room that's managed by Barry Anderson, who's usually on this chat, which isn't today. And you see a meritocracy of a couple hundred active, engaged users who are always sharing information and kind of looking out for one another. It's almost like a flock. And Barry's the shepherd, but the flock helps itself. And it's a great way to just peruse different people interacting with the technology, lots of different ways. And it's been going on for a long time, so it's a mature community and a great way to kind of dip your feet. Roxanne, if you look at this link, trade-ideas.com/trading room, you can go and link and register for it. So Alex, the stock market absolutely does that, but it does it through the channels that I've shown you, because the market is, I don't even want to say the word bifurcated, but it just does lots of different things at once. You have things that are going up, you have things that are going down, and depending on how things are weighted is what the indexes are doing. But there's just so much going on underneath that it's up to you to figure out how you want to do it, which is why we created the AI, so that you wouldn't have to think as much and just go purely based on the statistics. Andreas, That's a great question, Brad. Maybe shoot that to support. I have to. I cannot remember that specifically in the pre-market. But please shoot that as a question to support. Yeah. One of the things that we also do is we help people by providing just free educational information. We show you the earnings channel. Here's kind of an approach on how you trade earnings, and we had a whole ebook before this called Trading the Downside, which proved amazing for when the market was in a decline. And guys, one of the ways that I really suggest people start, if you haven't done this before, sometimes start playing the downside so you can learn it. And then the buy side is actually buying stock. Everybody does that. Learn to play the downside. That's the hard part. Okay. But when you do that, you free yourself up to every direction of the market. So in essence, it's one of the best investments you can make for yourself. We have daily support sessions. You can join them, trade-ideas.com live and register. Every topic was covered, from how to really do magic with your AI to everything that we showed you today, setting up an alert window, a top list window, multi-strategy. It's such a powerful platform that it can take you to wherever your abilities let you go. But because of the simulated trading, I have to say you really should invest some serious time in just getting comfortable on the simulator, working the market until it's giving you the feedback that you're doing something right, so you can feel comfortable with live money. That's the key. Okay, we're software as a subscription service and growing very well, thanks to you guys, because you're here and you listen to us. This is how much we cost per day, and the payments are annual or monthly, but just so you can see, AI for at the most $7.50 a day. And if you want to sign up today, there's a promo code, summertime, all caps, 15% off the first month, or a year off of Trade Ideas. And of course, we do a podcast every Friday, so please search for Trade Ideas in your podcast search engine. And very active on social media. Please like us on Twitter, Facebook, and all the other social medias that we engage in, and feel free to give us a call or shoot us an email if you have any specific questions. So Jim, we don't have a thick client. It's all fairly thin. Everything's done on our servers. The web-based version is not as powerful just because you're in a browser window, so there's some limitations of that. Most advanced users use the downloadable version, but again, if you get fancy with the Mac, you can do a Windows install for Trade Ideas. That we have not heard too many complaints, but if people tend to like it, in sort of a dual monitor setup, let's say. Let's see here. Yes, Rafael, super easy to create a stock list. By the way, everything that we're discussing here, and I love just answering questions too. There's a YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube and search Trade Ideas, you can see our YouTube channel has virtually every single thing that you can potentially have a question about. There's a video there for it. Rob, I think there's a video on how to connect Trade Ideas to IB. You have to have an API permissioning from IB, but I think that's very easy to get. Brad, do you remember if I'm right? I'm pretty sure that's what you have to do.
Yeah, but if you're having problems, please send an email to info@trade-ideas.
Okay, fantastic. All right, guys, I think that's it for our show today. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming and listening. Please take a look at the most amazing technology the stock market has to offer. And we are grateful for your time. Enjoy the show, and we will see you next week.
Bye, everybody.